debate is being produced by
Hey everybody,
CNN,
today we're going to
and
be
is
watching
coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN
presidential debate, which happened last night.
Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office.
Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen.
I did watch
President
a
Biden
little
will be
bit.
appearing.
What did you see?
A coin toss determined their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off.
Microphone revive பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா last time வந்து interrupt பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தாங்கல்ல.
It will be difficult
ஞாபகம் இருக்குதா?
to understand for viewers at home during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept.
சரியான காமெடி ஷோல.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
It's like, I touched you. I touched you.
ஆமா. மா ஸ்லோவாவே வந்துட்டாங்கம்மா. மட்டர் பண்றா.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
He also looks old though.
Everybody's walking slow.
He does not have the energy he had 4 years ago.
Us on the other side is super fast trying to go to a different
Gentlemen,
planet.
thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
Wait, let's read the
Take a
question.
look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me.
voice is
We had
bad.
an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
Hope you,
The economy collapsed.
hope you
There were no
memorize all
jobs.
his lines.
Unemployment rate rose to 15%.
Whatever.
It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units.
He's running out of breath.
So
He has like a limited amount of breath for each question.
What I was left with in corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you had to look at all that was done in his administration,
No.
he didn't do much at all.
He's like,
By the time he left, there were things were in chaos.
memorize something and
Things
he's
were in
like
chaos.
recited.
And
Yeah, they
so
must have told him like these are the questions. He might have been.
He's thinking like
make
about
sure
lines
we have
or
a
next
situation
time.
where
Okay.
we now
Hold it closer to your mouth.
prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. In a situation and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest
Look
economy
at
in the
Trump's
history
body
of our
language.
country.
I'm waiting to
We
talk.
have never done so well.
I know what to say.
Everybody was amazed by other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary.
Oh, he
to
changed his
end up in
hairstyle.
A Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But
Rocking good.
We had given them back
Something like
a country.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that
what is he trying to do?
we found ourselves in
He
a
has notes. Didn't they
situation
say? Didn't they say like?
where his economy
my calling is my calling. He's
the
about to
largest
cough
tax
and
cut
then he
in
decided
American
not to
history,
cough.
$2 trillion.
The
It was the
coordination is
deficit
so
margin any
bad.
president had in any one term.
Didn't they say he had no
The only
notes?
president other than Herbert Hoover, who's
Man,
had
நீங்க
the last
Democrat la,
president
நீங்க liberal la,
he had
general la.
since Herbert
General,
Hoover.
yeah, I'm
The
like,
idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I
Look
want
at his
to
body
follow
language.
up if I can. You
Am I
want
allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan. But
He also does not have the energy he used to have in 2016.
Yeah.
Do you remember? He was
Because
so...
like eyes were like, no, he's trying to, I think maybe
our
like
country's life.
something
President
with the
Trump,
eyes.
over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations,
He's also like Hillary though. Remember when he said like Hillary, oh, she's a fighter. She doesn't give up. She keeps fighting. He's also like that. He only keeps fighting. He's convicted of a crime.
Gemini. It's Gemini quality like Kanye West.
They keep fighting?
They cannot accept
Defeat?
They cannot accept failure.
With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt,
Situation.
He's
with
become
all
better
the
in talking, like
therapeutics and all of
focused
the
and
things
like
that we
Focused.
came up with,
little bit
we
more
gave
like
him
Yeah.
something great.
Must have
Remember,
given
He's not
more
going
people
all over the
died
place.
all over the
under
place.
his
Yeah.
administration,
But he used to be so
even though
funny.
we had largely fixed it. More
He seems
people
more
died under
presidential
his
now.
Yeah,
administration
exactly. Now he's become
than our
a
administration, and we were
more
right in the middle of it.
mature, little
Something which
fake.
a lot of people don't
Little
like to
fake,
talk
yeah.
about.
Because
But
you
there are
need
far
that
more people
fakeness, like,
dying in his administration.
He was
I mean,
not
he's
like that
he's
before.
he's been a politician for 8 years. Before that, he was a celebrity.
The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on
The best
vaccine,
thing
which
I
is the
like
thing
about
that people
Trump
most
is like he
objected to
made
about the vaccine, and he did a very
it's
poor
so
job,
normal,
just a
like-
very poor job.
Well, the president,
And I will
yeah.
tell
Yeah,
you,
you
not
don't
only
have
through
to be
there, but throughout
perfect.
The entire
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
we're
Still,
no
like,
longer
run-
respected
that
as a
he, like,
country.
broke
They don't
the-
respect our leadership. They
I
don't
like
respect
that.
the United
Yeah.
States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation. Between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation. And it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails,
He
and
seems so
mental
confused.
institutions to come into our country
Because, like,
and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one.
It's really
Number
sad.
two, he got $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy.
Especially
Now,
after
what I'm
seeing
gonna do is fix the
Obama,
taxes.
like,
For example,
like the way
we
he
have 1,000
speaks,
trillionaires
like
in
confident,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything.
Billionaires
I
in
just
there.
couldn't see
And what's
him.
happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%,
They're right.
25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
I feel so sad.
If
Oh God. Dude.
He
Thank you,
totally
President
lost.
Biden. President Trump?
Well, you're right,
He's
he did
like-
beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and
They are
security
sitting. Why are
concerns.
they standing?
Given that, why should voters?
Why
trust
should they be
you
sitting? They should be
to
president.
solve
They
this
should have
crisis?
tons of energy.
Because
They
we
should have no
worked very
problem
hard to
standing
get
for an hour and a half.
bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance.
He shouldn't have his pen in his hand.
Across the border with the number of border police there are now.
His pen is in his hand.
Significantly
Pen.
increased the
The
number
strength.
of asylum officers. Significantly.
I feel like he's gonna get out of. He's gonna get out of office. He's gonna die in like a week.
In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation.
No, I'm not even saying it negative. I'm just saying
He
he's
was
gone.
taking-
There's no life
separating
force in him.
babies from their mothers,
There's
putting them in
no
cages,
Yeah.
making sure that
steam.
the families were separated. That's not the right way to go.
To run
what I've
for
done since
president,
I've
not
changed the
4 more
law,
years, right?
what's happened?
Yeah, it's like one of the hardest jobs in the world. Who must be running the office right now? Because I don't think it's Biden. If he's this is how his mental energy. Who is running the United States?
I think he's just like namesake. He's there, and the rest of the crew
Well,
is doing.
Kamala Harris.
I don't
Kamala.
know. I don't know.
The total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum.
He keeps
We're the largest number of
like
terrorists
saying
coming
like
into
that.
our
No,
country right now.
mental
All
institution,
terrorists,
mental
all over
institution,
the
like,
world,
no.
not just in South
He's gonna
America,
lose it.
all over the world. They come from the Middle East.
He has
everywhere, all over the
no.
world
He has
they're
no
pouring in.
force.
And this guy just left
This
it open.
guy-
And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have
Biden hates
legislation. I
Trump.
said,
He does
close
not
the
like
border.
him.
The safest
Yeah,
border
actually,
in
he's like,
history.
others can
in that
just
final couple of months
be
of my
decent stand. Look
presidency,
at the way
he had,
he's looking
according
at
to
him.
Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that. But who endorsed
come
me
on.
for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you, President
caravans.
Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything across the border is one who came along and killed 3, and his administration killed an Al Qaeda person.
You know what's interesting is he planned that out during the entire time he was talking, and he still couldn't execute.
Killed 3 American soldiers.
Doesn't have the
It's
voice
the only
anymore.
terrorist that's there.
What
I'm not
happened to
saying
his
that no
voice? He's
terrorist
like
ever
he
got
has
through.
some
The
sore
idea
throat or
they're
something.
emptying
He's
the
old.
border,
His
they're
voice doesn't
welcoming
work.
these people. That's simply not true. There is no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out quote,
Biden
the
or
largest
Botox
domestic
lanti-
deportation
Botox.
operation in American history,
His
unquote.
sits
Does that
are
mean that
recorded
you will
that
deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in.
Who do you think wins in a fight between Trump or Biden?
Rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders.
So
anymore.
mad.
Every state doesn't have
Anna, he's
borders.
so angry he can't do
Because of
anything.
his
Seriously,
ridiculous,
Terry Dilla.
insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens.
His
at a
nicknaming
level that
isn't
we've
the way
never
he used
seen
to be.
before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days.
In Europe,
But people will say that about Trump
Europe,
soon. Who do you think his running mate's going to be? Vivek Ramaswamy?
Putin continues
Ramaswamy
to
Vivek?
intimidate
Vivek
us.
Ramaswamy?
In the Article 5 agreement. Attack on
What?
one is attack on all.
Trump's running mate,
You
who do you
want
think
to
it'll
start the nuclear war he keeps talking about? Go ahead. Let Putin.
What,
run
Vivek
and
Ramaswamy?
control
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty clear.
Ukraine, and then move on to Poland and other places.
Vivek Ramaswamy?
This is what
Ramaswamy?
happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe. I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give your minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star. Number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved.
That was top of his head.
Ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. Scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now. And it could be 18,
so racist.
19, and even 20 million people.
Black jobs.
They're taking black jobs, and they're taking.
Who said that, bro?
You haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see
Hispanic jobs, black jobs.
Thank you.
Hey, let's get a Home Depot. They're going to be able to work some Hispanic jobs.
When I became president, you know why? The economy was flat on its back.
He has no idea how racist he was just now. He has no conception. He does not even understand. Like someone has to tell him afterwards, like, he can't say black jobs. He can't say Hispanic jobs. Asian jobs, white jobs. He wouldn't say white jobs, but still.
We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, if the ACA has increased, I made sure that they're $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. He wants to get rid of the ACA again. And they're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing anything.
The idea. That's his, you know how Obama would go. Biden goes, idea.
பேசுறது வந்து கம்பேர் பண்ண அதுக்கு அது கரெக்டா தப்போ whatever but ஆனா பேசுறது வந்து டெஃபினட்டா
Yeah, Obama is the best. Trump is the funniest though, or used to be the funniest. He used to be so funny.
The country are confronting
he has that order.
Effects of extreme
He's a star. Yeah, he's a star.
Language, the body language, everything, rising sea levels. Phenomenal. Former President Trump
is only like 55 right now, right? He's not even that old.
Climate initiatives, but
old he has
as
that
president
charm
to slow the
yeah,
climate
but I'm saying 56. This is when he should run for president or
What he
something.
said about the police.
He's very young.
How close the police are to him. Almost every police in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name.
Trump saying, like, bring up what someone said in the past is hilarious. He said some insane stuff all the time.
What I did for criminal justice reform,
super predators.
For the historically black
I can't believe Biden said
colleges
that.
and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded. And the opportunities.
Biden is what, 80?
With Tim, as you
so
know,
he was
Tim
like,
Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country. Opportunity zones.
81.
The biggest beneficiary are blacks, and that's why.
Oh, Obama's 62.
We have the best numbers with them.
How old is
maybe
78.
Ever. They're saying ever.
He looks great for 78.
The best numbers.
He looks fantastic. He looks great health for 78.
Because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But where do you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet.
It is hilarious. This is a good thing for uniting the country. This is how funny these people are.
Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet,
so he was born in 1942.
I had the
Biden.
best environmental.
So when he was 20, it was in the 1960s.
And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage. Actually,
yeah. What I'm saying is, like, when civil rights was happening, he was already a man.
The idea that anything he says.
Oh God!
I passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges. I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to. The idea is that.
அவன் டைம் முன்னாடி முடிச்சிட்டான். Oh my God!
The only ones of consequence were not members of the Paris Accord. how can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get it under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut.
Did you just dig his nose?
We've made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps for thousands of young people to learn how to deal with climate, just like Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change. And by the way,
didn't Biden earlier say like we don't have the best economy in the world, it's bad for the working person, and now he's saying we have the best economy in the world?
If Trump is reelected, we'd like to have a recession, and inflation is going to increasingly go up.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
In history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of
Trump knew he won like within the first 10 minutes. He's just cruising. It's easy peasy for him.
President Biden,
He's had a tough 4 years though, not gonna lie. Just as a person, nobody went on Truth Social. I don't know how many people bought his Yu-Gi-Oh trading cards. He had a speaker deal.
Child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected.
Yeah, that's the previous question.
The other thing is,
that is coming, right?
Yeah.
It might
He doesn't
love
fire
you, tell
people.
you, just want to say it.
Yeah.
You can't keep it.
I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put them there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him.
That's crazy, right? We've had like so many crazy presidents, like not just Trump and Biden, and we've always kind of been, since like post World War II, the most powerful country in the world. People say like when Trump got elected, oh, this is the downfall of America.
Exactly.
Look it up. Go online.
You got nothing, baby. We can do anything.
Exact number. Presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history. One through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would you do to make child care more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you. And they rate me one of the best, okay? And if I'm given another 4 years,
Their teeth are all
I will
fake.
be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times.
The number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term,
Even
it went up. Under your term, it has gone up.
Jake Tapper?
Former President Trump, despite the
He looks
efforts
young,
that
though.
both of you have made,
compared
more than
to
100,000 Americans are
Well, he
dying
must be
of overdoses
45?
every year.
No, more than
primarily
that.
from fentanyl
You think
and other
so?
opioids.
Yeah, check.
What will you do to help Americans right
Must
now
be
in
like
the
late
throes of
40.
addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Definitely.
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest
55.
deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along.
He doesn't call it the China virus anymore.
Like nobody's
He used to
ever
call it
had
the
before
China
any
virus,
country, in every way. And then
நானே
we had to
Trump
get
மட்டும் தான் அதை
tough.
சொல்லிட்டு
And
இருந்தோம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
the
China virus,
pouring
huh?
across the border, where it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen. The way they can spot it. We
Did you just say he got a certain dog?
We were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways. But the numbers of and you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even seniors, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as
He's so
good a shape
gone.
as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take
I
a
feel the
cognitive
same.
test. And you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced him. Dr. Ronnie Jackson.
I like
he's
his confidence.
a great guy when he was White House doctor. And then I took
I'm
another
better.
one, a similar one.
I'm lighter.
And one of them
I'm
said
the
they've
same.
never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway. Just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driver.
They are you like 8-year-olds? Oh, you said you're 6'5"? I'm actually.
President down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was at 8 handicapped. 8. But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's
you don't know
not
how
act
many
like
rounds.
children.
President Trump, we're going to
21
turn
Let's
rounds.
not act like children.
You
to
are.
a specific
Now he says it.
concern
Let's not act like.
that voters have about you. Will you pledge tonight that once all legal challenges have been exhausted, that you will accept the results of this election, regardless of who wins, and you will say right now that political violence in any form is unacceptable?
Well, I shouldn't have to say that, but of course I believe that. It's totally unacceptable. And if you would see my statements that I made on Twitter at the time, and also my statement that I made in the Rose Garden, you would say it's one of the strongest statements you've ever seen. In addition to the speech I made in front of, I believe, the largest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I will tell you,
President Trump,
President.
the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these on.
Are they going to give Trump coverage? Because they haven't been giving him any corporate. This is like the only corporate media coverage they've given him in 4 years, right? Because all the people who own the corporate networks do not like him, so they just don't give him any airtime. But if he's president again, they're going to have to give him airtime.
He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level, because the people understand it.
Let's see what your numbers are when this election is over. Let's see. You're a whiner. When you lost the first time, you continued, you appealed and appealed to courts all across the country. Not one single court in America said any of your claims had any merit, state or local, none. But you continue to provoke this lie about somehow there was all this misrepresentation, all this stealing. There is no evidence of that at all. And I tell you what, I doubt whether you'll accept it because you're such a whiner. The idea if you lose again, you accepting anything, you can't stand the loss. Something snapped in you when you lost the last time.
What do you think, Mao? What do you think? What did you think of that?
The debate.
Yeah.
It's
Funny?
funny and also some places it's like, serious.
Sad.
Sad? Why sad?
Bullying Biden.
Yeah.
But I also don't think you should be like, oh yeah, I feel bad for him bullying. He's the president.
You
He has
can't
to hold it.
sympathize in these situations, right? Because he's old, so I'm gonna vote for him. Poor guy. No, we can't do that.
No. He has to be competent.
Yeah, you can't. You have to think beyond that. Like you can't say, just because he's old. Like no, you have to give the seats in the bus.
I think New Jersey will go red. Do you think so?
Yeah.
It's crazy. New Jersey hasn't gone red in like how long? Since forever.
Yeah.
We got red New Jersey. Do you think New York will stay blue? I think New York will stay blue. I don't think anyone likes the abortion stuff. Okay. Final words is looks like Donald Trump's gonna be our president. Again. All right. Bye.
Bye.